So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for having me. And like Marianne, we're very grateful to the Minister and the Vice Minister. Thank you so much for your support. It's a great pleasure. It's my very first time in Taiwan, so I'm really excited to be here. And what a beautiful place. Thank you. So, as you can see, I'm from the UK Business Angels Association. And we are the trade body for angel investing in the UK. We were formed in 2012. That means that we've had about 4 years of existence in our current form, but we've actually existed for a number of years before that. But we are very fortunate in that we've had a long time to also learn a lot from our American colleagues as well, which has been fantastic. So just a little bit about the organization itself. So as you can see, we are very much looking after the market. We build and connect the angel ecosystem. We see that as the fundamental role of a trade body. We want to help investors meet great entrepreneurs and have access to the right deal flow. We act very much as a voice to the government on behalf of the investment community and really want the government to better understand the opportunities in the angel market so that they can continue to provide a supportive environment. And we are very much about improving quality and standards and believe in education, just as Marianne does at ACA. We are very concerned that people learn how to invest effectively and well, and so we support education too. And I think the most important thing about our existence is that we have been gathering together what we see as the visible angel market in the UK. And we look after about 18,000 investors who are members of groups, but we also look after venture capitalists who want to co-invest with angels. And I think that makes us a little bit different to the ACA because we have the venture capitalists who also want to be part of the angel world in working very closely together. And then we also look after a whole range of equity funding platforms because in the UK, equity crowdfunding has been very popular and we've had a very supportive environment for that. So we look after quite a different range of groups, which I'm sure you think is a little bit different. We don't just look after the angel investment community. So there have been some very interesting trends in the market, and I think that we have been, in a way, the second follower of the US in angel investing. You can see that compared with the amount of investment that Marianne was talking about, but if you compare our small population, we're an island like yourselves, and so we've been very much growing our population. That with the support of government backing, we have been able to raise an average amount of £1.6 billion in the previous year. It's very difficult to know what all the angels are doing and what they invest in because, as you know, angels are private individuals. But the most significant thing is that, and I'll tell you more about that shortly, we get great tax breaks. And so by having great tax breaks, that also allows us to be able to know a little bit more what the angels are doing. And as you can see, they actually invested in 3,105 small businesses in that year, which is a considerable number of businesses to have received angel investment from private individuals. And again, I'm talking about pounds, and I'm hoping these will get translated for you into your own currency. And if you remember, there's about $1.5 to the English pound. That's on the US. Our average deal that a group does is between about £100,000 and £500,000 in the first round, which I think compares quite well with the US. And most of our deals, again, are with angels investing in groups rather than on their own. But a normal angel will invest anything from just £5,000 to a higher number, maybe £50,000, and that's quite a broad average from someone who's perhaps a little less experienced to someone who is more experienced. One of the important things, as I said, is that equity crowdfunding in the UK has grown enormously. And so you can see that if you take 1.6 billion of angel money, 332 million was invested in equity crowdfunding. Now, this doesn't take account of all the lending on crowdfunding or all the donations. That is just people using the same kind of techniques of an angel investor in that they're taking shares in the business in return for finance. So this is very, very growing, and lots of investors invest in angel deals, one-to-one, and also invest online in crowdfunding. The other thing to bear in mind is, and I'm sure this is also true Marianne talked about, is that angels also invest alongside other sources of finance, and frequently angels co-invest along venture capital. It's not angel money, then VC money, but angels and VCs increasingly doing the deals together at an early stage. We also work with banks because we know that a business might need some lending, some debt money, as well as some share capital. So we often have schemes where angels invest alongside banks. And of course, I mentioned crowdfunding. Most importantly, and this is very important for angels, that angels don't just invest once in the company. As the company grows, the angels invest in several rounds, each time perhaps bringing a few more angels to the deal. But it's very important as an investor and as an entrepreneur to remember that angel money needs to keep on going into the company as the company grows. And that's something that as an investor we take a lot of account of when thinking how much a company needs. It's patient capital. Angels take a long time to get to exit. And that has been increasing since, as finance becomes more difficult, then often the company has to stay a long time before it gets to exit. And angels and VCs have to work a long time with a company before they get that great exit. And that's something that we all bear in mind. Okay, so another key trend is the fact that we are having a very, very big increase in startups. Our government has put a lot of support since 2012, which was the end of the big financial crisis that we all had, particularly in the West. We have been increasingly encouraging and backing startups. And this has resulted in a considerable number of startups being set up on a year-on-year, so that we've had about 3.3 million active startups in our small island in the UK since that time, which is a very significant figure, I'm sure you'll agree. Another very important thing is that we have had a lot of very favourable government policy environment towards startups. And this has included a whole range of measures, including a whole programme to give special startup loans to startups, where they've been able to access a considerable amount of loan capital at that very, very first idea stage before they're ready for angel money. We've had a big campaign called Startup Britain, and I know you had one called Startup America too, Marianne. And this has really encouraged. We have whole online platforms helping startups to think of all the basics of getting going. And we've also had an ongoing loan program where the government has helped the banks to give more money to startups by mitigating some of the risks for the banks through guarantee schemes. So this has also been a very important policy for us. A very interesting thing has happened in that we began noticing the whole clusters of tech. First of all, in London, where we have a massive tech cluster that we actually have named after Silicon Valley, and we call it Silicon Roundabout, where we have a very big group of tech companies. Many thousands have gathered there over time. But we've also been opening tech clusters all around the country. And clusters are very important because this allows entrepreneurs to meet each other, to build businesses together, to get to know each other, and also help them with accelerators and with other kinds of finance and lots of advice. A great phenomenon in the UK has been the advent of accelerators that are backed by corporates. So what we have is many important corporates have seen the opportunity to set up an accelerator to encourage businesses to form and grow and respond to their own innovation needs. And this has really resulted in a huge explosion of accelerators in the UK. And we also have some very exciting showcasing platforms for entrepreneurs, so that you as an entrepreneur can put out your deal onto the platform and present that to the angels. There's no regulations around it, but there are requirements that at least that the company is established and can present itself effectively. Oops, go back. So, and Marianne described this a little as well. So this is the ecosystem as we see it in the UK. And I think it follows quite similar lines. So you can see here we have the friends and family and your credit card and all the things that you need to use when you start up as a business. And this is your starting point on the journey. And increasingly, startups are going through accelerators and incubators. And at this point, many of them start to get some crowdfunding in the UK. And that helps them really get their first ideas going, sometimes just up to about £100,000. Accelerators are so huge in the UK now that many entrepreneurs are directly starting in an accelerator. And quite often the accelerators take a small amount of equity in the business, because this gives some link to the business going forward if the business is successful and grows. And the entrepreneur then gets free support and advice inside an accelerator, mentoring, access to help and markets, corporates and investment. We then find that the business angels come in when the idea's been formed, when the company's tested the market, when it starts to see the shape of the business and the potential, following the same kind of guidelines that Marianne pointed out. But this is really where angels come in, when they can see the company starting to get something that can really show what its potential is and what it's about. The next phase, obviously, is angels start to form themselves in groups, and I'll tell you in a moment that we also have co-investment funds that also help the angels to build the deals at that stage. And then they will often come along and bring the venture capitals in alongside their deal as the business starts to expand and grow, and you need more than about $1 million or $2 million. The venture capitalists will then come in alongside the angels. Sometimes the angels leave at that moment, or sometimes they will stay in the deal and stay with the venture capitalists. And then finally you get up to the whole kind of formal VC, longer, bigger money from bigger companies, which is available in the UK. And they may also go to the US to find that money as well at that stage. In the UK also, it's quite common for angels to stay right through to the exit if they can. And this is when they may perhaps go forward and look for an exit, and that can sometimes be an IPO, Sometimes it can be a big corporate buys the company, or sometimes the management buys themselves out. We do have quite an important opportunity in the UK for listing companies because we have a smaller market, which is smaller than the London Stock Exchange, which is called AIM, and it's the alternative investment market that you can float on with a smaller amount of capital raised. So, we looked at the profile of angels in the UK, and I think that we are not dissimilar to the US in that we always saw angels as older people, that you did angel investing after you'd retired, when you'd really made all your money and you had some time to give back to businesses. But angels now do it as part of the day job. So they could be in any walk of life. Many of them are in financial services. They could be lawyers, accountants, running their own business, not yet exited their own business when they start to invest in small businesses themselves, because they see the deals every day that they can help and support. So we are increasingly seeing angels under the age of 45, a really large number of people now getting involved in investing. And that also means that they can spend a longer time often with the business over time. They're in less of a hurry to exit the business. But they also can bring a lot of access to markets, to customers, to links, which is very significant if you're a younger investor. You have more time for this. But I think that's been quite a change from how we used to see the angel population, when it was always this group of people who were the investors, and now it's a much younger group. So you can meet them every day at your daily work. We don't have enough women who are investing in the UK. Marianne has done a great deal of work with her colleagues in the US to get more women to invest. But in the UK, you can see that we've only got about 14% of all investors are women. And that great big figure there is the male. And you know, in the UK, we have many, many more women entrepreneurs coming forward, women in tech, many great women, and often they really do well if they also manage to attract a woman investor to back their business who really helps them understand the business. So we see the real importance of diversity, and so we're working very hard to increase our number of angel investors. I've been investing myself since about 2000, and I have still seen not enough women around me ready to invest, so we need to do more work. The other interesting thing, and I think this is an important trend for us, is that we always see angels looking after their own economy, investing in their own area, but increasingly we're seeing angels who invest outside their home region, and increasingly looking to invest internationally. I think that reflects especially our very diverse population in our capital cities, but also the increasing number of international entrepreneurs and international businesses who are living now in the UK, who are looking to invest back in their own countries as well as in the UK. And we're seeing a lot of interest in that. I mentioned the idea of investors investing alongside other sources of finance. And you can see now how significant crowdfunding has become in the UK, with our estimates that many of the deals now have crowdfunding as well as angels in the deals. And the angels are increasingly investing alongside crowdfunding platforms as well as doing their own deals. So this has become very significant indeed. Also, I mentioned VCs and loans and grants. So when a company goes for investment in the UK, they're not just looking for one piece of money, perhaps, from the angels, but they may be pulling together several pieces of money from different sources to really build the deals. And the angels are quite used to that. They're quite used to working alongside other sources. So where are they putting their money? I think that's something that we've been very keen to understand. What we have noticed is that angels have been much more confident in the economic outlook, and see the opportunities for growth and opportunity in quite a wide range of sectors here in the UK. And we have angels now expecting really serious growth in their companies, which we see as a very, very positive sign. And this means that the more people feel there's good growth and good opportunities for success and great returns from their investments, the more they're likely to want to get involved in angel investing. So we see this as very important. And although maybe all of those exits did not occur, there is definitely a sense of confidence, which we see as very important. So, where do people see the returns in the UK? Well, these have been our very important sectors in the past 2 to 3 years. Fintech, so financial tech, fintech, has been absolutely huge and growing in the UK since 2012, since we had our own banking crisis. Many alternatives, ways of using software and technology to address the issues for financial services have been absolutely huge. So we've got many new kinds of platforms in the way that people lend. We've got many different software systems for payments, for making the whole banking area work, but also financial technologies generally have become a very, very massive area of angel investment. Many of the angels themselves may have come out of financial services, so they really understand this space. And we've got lots of accelerators in that as well. Cybersecurity, very big. These are uncertain times where a lot of people are concerned about security on the internet and security worldwide. So cybersecurity has become a very big area of innovation and opportunity among entrepreneurs and among the investors. Internet of Things, we see that everywhere now. I'm sure you do too. And we have had a lot of investment in smart cities, smart homes, the application of all kinds of software to make things faster and easier, and to making all kinds of linking technologies. So we've seen a huge range of things across Internet of Things and many different areas, cutting right across many different sectors. Big data, ways in which data can be aggregated, can be cut through, can be used to support other bigger areas, has become absolutely huge. And we've got a big, strong focus in the next 2 weeks in the UK on blockchain, for example. So blockchain, obviously being a very interesting way of using fintech technologies and big data to create whole new chains of opportunity using blockchain. So big data and the way data is used and the way it can be aggregated and analysed has become really important. Commerce, like you, mobiles are everywhere, and so entrepreneurs are selling, making apps, doing multiple things using commerce, and many angels really understand that space and back it. And I can imagine that's very strong here. Games and multimedia, these have been very big in the UK and generally in Europe, and it's been one of our strengths. So we've got many entrepreneurs using games, multimedia, and gamification as well to be able to develop whole new areas of opportunity. And I know that's been also a big area of yourselves in multimedia. Healthcare and digital health. In the UK, we see healthcare as one of our biggest challenges. It's one of the hardest things and one of the most expensive things that's delivered. We have a national health system, very expensive for our government to deliver. So there have been many exciting solutions for healthcare, for diagnostics, therapeutics. Angels invest less in drug discovery and drug development, because we see that that's more difficult for us, because we have to put an awful lot of money into helping a drug get all the way from development to market. There are many rules and regulations, but great things that help the health service run well are very popular. And digital health, where you can monitor people's health and measure people's health using online devices and opportunities. Retail tech, you're very big on retail too, and we love retail in the UK. We're a nation of shoppers and shopkeepers, and we have been using online retail selling, distribution platforms, aggregation platforms, ways in which people can sell goods in many different ways, are absolutely massive. And we've done an awful lot, everything across restaurants to shops where people are ordering and buying everything online now. And of course, surrounding that, many different ways of distribution and logistics. And EdTech, education technology, the opportunity to educate people at a distance using online technologies has been huge. So angels really understand the power of education, but the capacity for people to learn at a distance and learn through e-learning and imaginative ways of delivering that learning are ones that angels are really backing. And then finally, because this is something we all confront, angels in the UK are very interested in social impact, businesses that have an impact on society and global challenges. So that could be everything from environment to aging to healthcare, education, but things that have a real impact. Angels like to feel they're doing some good as well as backing great entrepreneurs. And there are many entrepreneurs who are delivering very exciting businesses that have a social impact. When we asked the angels, they said that 1 in 4 of the deals they did, they looked to see that they weren't just going to make money, but have a real impact and do something exciting in the world. So, one of the things that we have had that perhaps makes things a little bit different than any other of the main countries has been that our government, some years ago now, more than 20 years ago, recognise the importance of encouraging private investors to back entrepreneurs. And the best way they thought of to be able to incentivise those investors is to actually give them tax breaks. So as angels in the UK, we get really fantastic tax breaks, which means that the government gives us money back against the money that we are putting into small businesses through our tax returns. And if you are a business that is that is established and looking to raise more than 150k, and you have not yet, you've actually already started to grow your business, as an investor, I can get 30% tax relief on you. Now, you have to be an entrepreneur that has some of your base in the UK. You can't be only based, say, in Taiwan. You would have to have set up part of your business base in the UK. And as an investor, because I pay my taxes in the UK to the UK government, if I back a company that fits all the right criteria, I get a fantastic tax break. I also get, it means that I can put £1 million of my own money into small businesses every year and get that tax break. And those businesses can offer that tax break to an investor. So when as an investor I think, oh, should I take the risk in backing you? The entrepreneur can say, that's okay, because I can get you the tax break through the government scheme, and you just fill up some forms and you'll be able to get the tax break. There are lots of rules around it, I can assure you. And one thing that affects angels in the UK and their ability perhaps to exit is that you have to hold your money in the company for 3 years before, if you don't hold your money in the company for 3 years, the government takes the tax break back. But the beauty of that is that it means that you can be assured that the investor is not just investing in you and then trying to sell your business, that the investor has to keep their money in the business and support the growth of the business for 3 years before they can exit. And even if you fail as a business, I get up to 45% tax relief. I take my 30% is topped up to 45% of my tax break if you fail, which means that it allows you to think you can try new ideas and fail, and I won't mind so much. And then in 2012, our government brought in an even bigger tax break for very early stage startups. So if you have only been operating for less than 2 years and you haven't taken on any risk capital before, you can give me a 50% tax break, which is fantastic. It really encourages me to want to take a risk in early stage startups. And it means as investors that we can really choose to back and help companies at a much earlier stage rather than waiting until you grow your business and less risky. And I can put in £100,000 a year into a small business and get a great tax break. And you, as a business, can take up to £150,000 in that kind of money from an investor. So it's a great opportunity. But it does mean, again, that it means we take a lot more risks, perhaps, and it's really encouraged angels to do a lot more investing. So, what else does the government do? So we have another scheme, and it's called the co-investment funds. And our government has put £100 million into a fund which is able to co-invest alongside angels. So if angels in the UK, a group of angels, you have to be a group, not on your own, it's to encourage syndication. If a group of angels invests in a small business and it fits all the right criteria, the angels can access up to another 49% of that money, again, on the side of their own deal. And that brings a fantastic amount of extra firepower, therefore, to the business. And you can imagine on that basis that it encourages angels to invest in groups, but it also brings more money and more firepower against my deal. So I can get, in the end, a stronger acceleration of that business by the government co-investing alongside my deal. So again, the companies will mainly have to be based in the UK, but you can have, as long as you fit the normal criteria and you have some of your business in the UK, even if you have some of your business in Taiwan, that would work. But we see that as very exciting, and then to follow that, several other regions around the UK have developed their own funds. So London has its own co-investment fund as well, so if you're based in London. So how does it all work? Well, I think one of the challenges for us in the UK is that we're quite a small island, the same. Our government has put fantastic tax breaks, but obviously it has certain limitations. You may well have heard that in the UK now we have made a vote to leave the European markets as our main markets. So we are having to look far more internationally now at how we operate. There are many more opportunities, therefore, for us to develop links. And as you saw, angels themselves are very interested in investing outside their own region and investing alongside other entrepreneurs. So we do see this as a very important time to be looking more internationally and more globally at the way we work. It's been an interesting time for us to think about our markets, and I think up to now angels have always, as Marianne said, wanted to look to build relationships of trust. But we do think there are many opportunities now for cross-border deals and cross-border linkages that we can build on. It's worth bearing in mind that as an island, we have always had to look outside as well to build our relationships. So to that degree, we are quite similar to Taiwan, and we can always look at international links. And we've been working for many years alongside our angel colleagues around the world. But I think this is a great opportunity for you to be looking at how both your angel community and your entrepreneurial community can create better links with us here in the UK. just as a kind of matter of interest, how many people in their businesses are trading also in the UK as well as in Taiwan? Aha, nobody yet, Eric. How many with the US? Oh, one. Oh, somebody, what is your business? Right. Fantastic. Any others? What about the US? How many of you also have business in the US? Ah, so this is interesting, Eric. This is interesting. Marianne and I have many opportunities there. Because I think, I'm assuming though that all those entrepreneurs who are using the internet and using online are naturally trading globally, but perhaps your customers yet are not in the UK or the US. We see that the opportunities, as I mentioned, around e-commerce, m-commerce, as being huge to build international links. So we obviously do want to create those relationships. Because we have such a diverse community of angels in the UK, and increasingly people are linking with the Far East, I think that we do, and Southeast Asia and the Far East, I think that we do see there are real opportunities to break down barriers and start to build links. So, as I said, businesses naturally have a global focus, so I think that we see that this is really going to offer us a great opportunity for the future. We, as a country in the UK, are now looking internationally to build our links. Before, our big markets were in Europe. Now we're having to look much more widely at the way we work, so we'll be looking to create great opportunities. And as I said, we definitely would be interested in creating links with Taiwan angel groups as well, between the angels. So that's something I would really look forward to for the future. And then finally, as Marianne, if you go onto our website, you'll see a great deal of information. There are a lot of resources and links and many ways in which you can connect with us and find out what's going on in the angel world in the UK. I finally would like to say that if there's any help that we can give to you to further build your community, if you're interested in some of the policy that our government has put in place, I think we should be persuading your government to do the same, Eric. I think you should have the tax breaks, I think you should have co-investment funds, and things that really, really help to stimulate the angel market. So we're very happy to give any more information on that. And most certainly to keep in touch with our angel groups and your entrepreneurial world. So thank you very much indeed.